Hi everyone, this is Bernie, your Revit Blaster here at Printerstad Incorporated, bringing you the TNT for Revit users. In this video, I'd like to show you about family creation, pretty much the basics. You can get into all kinds of interesting stuff, but this is going to be the basics if you're starting out. You can make from this cabinets, casework, countertops, windows, shutters, doors, all different types of things that you want to use in your project. Different types of doors, different types of windows. But this is going to be the basics. I'm going to go to families. I'm in Revit 2027. I'm going to go to families and select new. And the Imperial template comes up with, or folder comes up with a bunch of different templates. I'm just going to select casework, not wall-based, but it'll be floor-based. And here we are in the beginning in the reference level floor plan. In here, because it's already casework, they already know where you're going to go with this a little bit. They give you a lot more reference planes in here than you usually start out with on a family creation. There's usually a center vertical and a center horizontal. And I would put these in, and I would do this with these dimensions. Here's what I mean by that. I like to know that everything will flex and move, so I can create multiple families out of this template, or out of this family itself. So I open up family types. That's this bottom button right here. It's grayed out right now because it's open. And in here, you see the depth and the width and the height. Those are in the project, in the family, but it has the dimension where you can see if it really flexes and moves. Now, if these reference planes flex and move, and you align your objects to them, they will flex and move with them. Depth, I can go to 3 feet deep if I want to and hit apply. I see the rear one is the one that's moving. I'm calling that rear because the front is usually at the bottom of the page. And I'm going to go back to my width at 4 feet because that's what it started with. That's fine. So I just wanted to show you that, okay? Now, if I hit OK here, go to the front elevation. You can see those reference planes are there, but there's also a couple for the horizontal, for vertical. There's the height. Again, that would be in the family types dialog box. There's the height. And I can make sure that that flexes. Hit apply. It's a beautiful thing. Hit apply. I want to be able to have a toe kick on this cabinet. On the front face, I want a toe kick. So when you're standing at your counter, your toes can go into that space. So I'm going to use a reference plane. I'm going to set this in here. Hit escape twice. Zoom in here a little bit. I'm going to pick that, and I'm going to pick to keep this dimension. But before I do that, I'm going to name this toe kick. Whoops. And I'll put height. For the name of that reference plane. Now I'm going to select this little toggle, which makes this a permanent dimension, which is fine. I'm going to pull this out a little bit. Now I'm going to show you what happened with these and how these were created. I'm going to go back to that front. I'm not going to lock this dimension, but I'm going to go up and put a label on it. Now you can select labels that are in there, unless these don't pertain to what you're doing. If they're not, there's a creator button. I'm going to create the parameter. I'm going to call it toe kick height. So it will group in dimensions. I'm going to do it as a type. so that if I did want to have a different toe kick height on my cabinets, I could create a different type of cabinet with a toe kick higher. I don't want to have to fill this in every time for an instance. Leave it at type. Hit OK. Now it's there. Now, can I flex that? You betcha. Let me move this over. Turn on my family types dialog. Toe kick height 6 inches. Well, I really only want to have 4 inches. And I'm going to hit apply. Boom. There it moved. It's beautiful. I'm in the front. So I'm going to go to reference level. And then I'm going to create some of the side panels and rear panel and front panel of the cabinet. So I select create. I'll select extrusion. Use rectangle because it's just easier. I'll zoom in here a little bit. I'm going to pick this back left corner. Go to the right side. I'm going to select it right on that reference plane. And notice what happens. Revit asks me if I want to lock these lines to the reference planes. I'm going to select to lock them. And what about the depth? It's pretty thick. It's 4 inches. So I'm going to hit escape once to get out of this draw mode. Actually, I'm going to hit twice and get out of that draw mode. And notice why it did that. If I'm in here and I draw a line and I hit escape once, it doesn't take me out of the command. So I could draw more lines. Okay? But if I hit it twice, I'm out of that mode. I can now take that and delete that. Now, this one, I'm going to ask it to be 1/2 inch thick. And I don't have to do anything with that because it's already there. And I'm going to select the checkbox to finish it. But I want you to notice that every time you make an extrusion, Revit puts the length of it, or the end of it, 1 foot away from the start. This is extruding. This is coming up towards you in plan. So, knowing that it shows me 1 foot at every time, I'm going to hit the checkbox to finish. And I'm going to go to the front because I want the top of this to be tied to this reference plane for the top. So if I ever change the height of the cabinet, I will want that to go with it. And I'm going to select it, and I'm going to lock it. I dragged it to the reference plane, and it snaps to it, and it locks. Now, that happens for all of them, by the way. I'm not allowed to move that because it's already locked. But since I did, go ahead and lock it. And this one, I'm going to move a little bit, come back to the reference plane, and I'm going to lock it. So that will always be there, always flex with the reference planes. How do I know that? I test it again. See if I can change this. Can't change the size of this very well. So I will cancel that and move this over so I can show you that properly. So the width is 4 feet. I'll make it 5. Hit apply. It worked. Beautiful. Go back to 4. And the height was 3 feet. I'm going to do 4 feet just for this example. Boom. There it moved. Okay. Back to 3 feet. Okay. Toe kick height is there. All right. Now, let's do the front panel. Front panel will do the same exact thing. Create, extrusion. Let me get the rectangle. Here to here. It's a thing of beauty. I'm going to lock that, lock that, lock that. So they're all together. I know it's at 1 foot. Notice in here you can pick the material at the same time. There are materials preloaded into Revit. You can use them. Let me give you an example. I always hit these on the right side first, so I hit that button that brings it up. Now, it's a very small amount, but they're there. You can create your own. We can do that in another video, but you're allowed to pick the category of that item that you're doing. I'm going to hit escape, get out of that mode. I'm going to pick this, make this to 1/2 inch. It's there. I don't have to move, I don't have to do anything else. And I'm going to select it. Now, what if the depth is different? Well, this one moves, this one stays still, so I don't have to worry about this one so much. But that one that I created first, if I take the depth and just change it to 3 feet, because it's simple to type in, there it goes. Okay? 2 feet, apply, and hit OK. All right. So I have 2 foot depth. I'm going to look at this 3D view. Oh, guess what? That one that I did on the front, I didn't stretch up to the top of the cabinet yet. So let's go to front. Now notice I'm leaving it highlighted so that when I pick it with these tabs, it stays highlighted. And now I can drag this up to the reference plane and lock it. And I'm going to do the bottom because I want the toe kick on the front, up to that reference plane, and lock it. That's a thing of beauty. Now, I'm going to go to the right view. There it is, right? It's a thing of beauty. Now, I'm going to create another extrusion. I'm going to use a reference plane. I'm going to put this down. I'm just going to call it toe kick. Now, I don't want this dimension to go from the back side of this panel. I want the dimension to go from the front side. So I'm going to grab this grip and bring it to the reference plane and let go. And there it is. Now I'm going to grab this. I'm going to put this in at 3 inches. Okay, there's my toe kick. This piece right here. Now, I'm going to cheat a little bit just to show you something that you can do. I'm going to take this and I'm going to copy it from here to that reference plane. Okay? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this and bring it down to there, and I'm going to lock it to there. And then I'm going to take the top one, when I get away from that dimension, and move it down. I'm going to drag it down to that reference plane, and I'm going to lock it. Now, I did this first because I want to make sure that my side panel goes around this toe kick, goes around this member, this extrusion. So now I'm going to create another extrusion. Before I do, I'm going to look at this. It says reference plane right. So when I go back to the right and I hit extrusion, I'm going to now set the work plane. Reference plane right. That's the one I want to use. I can use the pick command and just pick lines. And then use the trim command and trim them. I'm picking what do I want to keep when I'm trimming. And there it is. So now the toe kick's going to go in front of this side panel, which from the front is going to be the nicest look. Okay? Even though you might cover it with base later. But, again, notice it's at 1 foot. It's an extrusion. I'll select OK. Go back to my reference level. I'll bring this back to here. And it's still a positive number. So now I know I can hit 1/2. And apply. There it is. It's a thing of beauty. Knowing that this is tied to this reference plane, I should be able to flex this and not have a problem with that depth of panel. So instead of 4 feet wide, I'm going to select 3, hit apply. It moves perfect. Awesome. Put it back to 4 for the example. Okay. Now what you can do, let me show you this. The toe kick is in front of that. Let me show you in a different way. I highlighted that so that my rotation would be upon that item. Notice the toe kick is in front of the panel. See that in the plan there? Underneath, that's in front of it. Awesome. And this front panel, oh, let's fix that. Let's go to right. See? Oh no, I did it right. Okay. I'm good. We're on the back side of that. So let's do this. Let's go back to the reference level. Let's look at this panel and see that this panel flexes right. All this is done on the side that doesn't move. So this edge is fine. I'm going to go to the right, take this edge, bring it back to there, and I'm going to lock it to that back panel because I want it to flex with it. Now I can go back into my types, 2 foot depth. Let's go 3 feet again. It went with it. That's awesome. Let's go back and hit OK. All right. Now another thing I'm going to do here in this family creation example, I'm going to mirror this panel. I'm going to select mirror, copy selected, go to the center, boom. But now I'm going to edit the work plane and I'm going to tie it to reference plane left so that that stays with it. Now notice what happened. This is on the left side of that center line, center reference. It stayed to the left side of this reference plane because it's positive. So I'm going to make that a negative number and watch it flip. There it is. Okay. So let's go to here. Everything looks good. Oh, sorry. Rotate. Look in on that. The front wall is covering it. The front panel is covering the side panel. That's what we like. Let's put the toe kick on. I'm sorry. Let's put the floor on. Toe kick is there. Let's put the floor on. Let's create another extrusion. I'll use the rectangle again. Grab that corner. Grab this corner. And lock it to them all so it flexes with it. That's a thing of beauty. And it's 1 foot high again. Let's see what that looks like from the front. Aha. So I want this to be the top of the toe kick. I want the toe kick to give it a little extra support. Now, this is at 1 foot. Number changes as I scroll, but I know that the bottom is at 4, so I'm going to call this at 4.5, 4.5. Hit apply. Boom, there it is. Now, if I go back to here, let me just change this to shaded a little bit. You can see the floor in there. Okay? That's a thing of beauty. That's your basic cabinet. Flexes and moves. It works out nice. I'm going to go to reference level. And I'm going to do one more thing, just for the fun of it. I'm going to put doors in there. But I want to put reference planes in first. And here's why. I'm going to select this and go here. Select this and go here. I'm going to adjust those. Whoops, I'm not going to name it. Meant to select there. Okay. Hit escape twice to get out of the mode. I want this to go from reference plane to here, 1/4 inch. Because when the cabinets are next to each other, the door will be 1/2 inch away from the other door, which is exactly what I want to do in the middle. I want this to be 1/4 inch. I want this to be 1/4 inch. Where did it go? It's a thing of beauty. Let's do one more. 0 1/4. Boom. Awesome. Now, again, you can make these using any plane you would like. I could do it right now in reference level. I could do it at the front elevation. I could do it at the right elevation. But I'm here and I'll just do it now. I'm going to create. And I'm going to create an extrusion. I'm going to use that rectangle again. And I'm going to go to this corner here where these two reference planes intersect. I'm going to bring it out. Bring it to the edge of my door panel. I'm going to align it to that. And I know that's locked. I'm going to align it to that. And I'm going to align it to that reference plane because I know it's locked. And again, it tells me 1 foot. That's 1 foot. Oh, that's my height. I'm sorry. Let me edit the extrusion again. Let me do this. I forgot to do this part. I want this to be 1/2 inch. Boom. There it is. That's my thickness of my door. And like I said, the extrusion end was 1 feet. I'm going to go back to the front again. See that? That's my door. I'm going to bring it up to this reference plane for the top of the cabinet. And I think what I'm going to do is because I didn't do this in elevation, now I'm going to put a reference plane in. I think I want to hold it down 1/4 inch. When I'm putting on my countertop, I don't want the door to be scraping on the bottom of the countertop. So I'm going to do create. See, I'm going to use this reference plane to my advantage. Again, this one I'll call top of door. Top of door. Just because I'm goofy that way. Now this, I'm going to make this 0 1/4. Boom. Actually, I could make it 1/2 because that would make it 1/2 all the way around, except for the bottom. And now when I do that, I want to remember to lock that. So I'm going to put the dimension in, and I'm going to lock it. So if the height changes of the cabinet, so does the door height. And now I'm going to take that door, and I'm going to flex it to stretch to that reference plane and lock it. Now, just because I'm goofy this way, I'm going to do this. I'm going to flex that. I'm going to go 3'2", hit apply, and it moved. I saw it move with it. So I know I'm good. 3 foot, apply, boom. Go back to that 3D view. There it is. It's 1/4 inch reveal on the right, 1/2 inch on the top. Aha, but the bottom doesn't look right. Let's go back to the front. Grab that bad boy, Bring it right up to there. And actually, I want to go another 1/2 inch. So I'm going to do it to the top of the floor. I know that's what it is. But it's there. And I know this part doesn't flex. The top flexes. So I'm okay with that. Now I'm going to go back to reference view. And I'm looking. See the 1/4 inch? There's the 1/4 inch. Now this one, I'm going to mirror this. Again, I'm going to use this command. And I'm going to copy it. Go to there. Boom. Let's go to the 3D view. Let's see what happens if I flex it. I'm going to go 2'6" wide, height, and I'm going to go 3 foot wide, and I'm going to hit apply. Boom. Aha, look at that. So what happened is, somewhere it's not locked. Isn't that awesome? I could check that just by flexing it. So I'm going to go to the reference level. Aha. I know what happened. If I move this reference plane, cabinet door goes with it. What I forgot to do was take this dimension. Oops, I didn't want all that, so let's delete that. Take this dimension of reference plane to reference plane and make that 1/4 inch and lock it. So I'm going to grab that reference plane and make it a 1/4 inch. Whoops. 0, 1/4. There it is. And now I'm going to lock it. Same thing with this one. Notice what it did. When I selected this to go out and make it permanent, it was actually over here on the other one. It does the whole line. Everything you see. I don't want that. I want just the dimension I want. I want this to be 1/4 inch. Select that. Change that to 1/4 inch. Now in here, I got to lock that. Okay. Now there was something wrong with the top of this panel because I mirrored it, but I didn't attach it. Let me go to the front. Let me go to this top of door reference plane and lock it. Go back to this view. And now I'm going to show you the power of this family types box. This is very cool. The height, I really want 2 foot 10.5 because your countertop's usually 1.5 inches thick. The width is fine. Toe kick's fine. The depth is fine. I'll hit apply. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename the type. Now the type, even though it's a double door cabinet, I don't have to name that in the family type. This family type, oops, sorry. Let me do this first. This one is 2 foot wide. I'm going to do 24 inch. And there it is. And I'm going to select apply. Now I'm going to do it again. I'm going to call it 30 inch. Hit apply. I'm going to change the depth, change the width to 2'6", 30 inches. I hit apply so that it associates these dimensions to this type. It will flex and move as it does that. Why is the cabinet 210.5? Because once you put the 1.5 inches of countertop on top, the counter's at 3 feet, which is a standard. So now I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do a 48 inch. And change the width to 4 feet and hit apply. I'm going to do one more at 3'6". Let's do this. Call it 42 inch. 3'6". Apply. Flexes and moves. It's a beautiful thing. Hit OK. Now, let me go back to there. I want to show you this. Type. When I bring this into a project, these are the types that are going to show up in my project. These types are based on the width. Your types can be based on any parameter you would like them to be. Could be color, could be material, could be anything you want. And you can name it that way. So I'm going to select OK. I'm going to save this. I'm going to bring this into a project just for fun. Base, cabinet. I'm going to do this. Double door. That's the family name. I always go to here and select one for the maximum backups. Keep all my stuff simple. Hit save. OK. Now, here's a little tip within the tip. Up here is your home button. Go to the home button. I'm going to select new model. Multidiscipline, that's the template they come up with. I'm going to select OK. I'm going to go back to this family. And then we're going to load it into the project. I'm going to close it too, but I'm going to load it in there because I want to bring it in. Boom. Look at that. Goes right on there. Now, there's something missing here. There's a little tool missing that you can use in all of your families. I did this a little bit on purpose. Now I'm going to go in and edit the family. I'm going to go to reference plant level. And I want to show you up here, there's a control panel. These are panels, right? There's a control panel. I'm going to select that control panel. And I want to flip it. So I want to have a double vertical symbol right there. Just off the center, right there. I just inserted that. Now I'm going to save this. I want to replace it, yes, because I want to override what's there. And now I'm going to load it in the project and close again just because I can. And when I select this item, there's the flip. Now watch. Cabinet's going to flip when I select it. Whoops. It went the other way. Okay. Oh, it flips it by that side. That's right. I forgot about that. That's the base side inside the family. See, sometimes you learn stuff as you do it. So there's the cabinet. Now, I want to show you this. I'm going to mirror this. I'm going to copy it. I'm in the project, remember. I'm going to do it by that edge. Now, all my doors are a ½ inch away from every other door. Should look pretty nice, right? I'm going to go up here to view, see if I can get an elevation going here. Maybe not the way I want it to, but I can select that. Oh, looks like I'm going to rotate that now. I'm not going to copy it. I'll place that in the center. I'll rotate it 90. Boom. And now I want to see that. Oh, you little bugger. I'm double clicking on this. There it goes. It shows me the cabinet. Now, that's a little tip within the tip. Once I get this shaded area, which used to be blue in Revit, to show you that it's a hyperlink that shows me my parameters of my view. I can grab this crib, shrink it down. I can grab this crib, shrink it down. And I can grab this depth, shorter or deeper, whatever I want. Now, it labeled it as elevation 1A. There it is. Notice, all my doors are within a half an inch of each other. Nice, right? That's what I like. So let's do something else for fun. I don't want to go there. I want to go to the front elevation. I have to look this up, but create reference plane. I'm going to do it right there. That's where I'm going to put my pools. I don't recall in my head the actual, I'm going to put this as down as pool. Okay. What this number is really supposed to be based on kitchen standards. I don't remember what it is, but I know where it is. I'm going to grab this, bring it to the top, and I'm just going to make that 4 inches. There we go. Now, go back to reference level, because I want to do something a little fancy. I'm going to go back to the front. I didn't put the distance. Now the distance is something probably 3 inches, 2.5. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But I can create a reference plane for each one. So I know where they're going to be. This one, from the end of the door is 2 1/4. So I'll let that be my guide. 2.25. Okay, now they're both going to be the same. If I go back down to reference plan level, I'm going to create a revolve for a pool, for a button pool. I'll create a revolve. I want to create a shape. This is a boundary line. I'm going to go up to here. It's a little long. I'm going to do a shape similar to this. Sorry, I didn't hit chain. Similar to this, okay? And I want that to be the revolve. But I also want to pick the access line. Put the access line in. Lock it to it. And hit select. There it is. Oops, sorry. I hit the wrong 3D. There it is, but I didn't edit the work plane. Edit the work plane. Pull. Watch it go up. Ready? There it goes. There it is. There's the pool. Now, I'm going to go back to the reference level. I'm going to grab this again. I'm going to edit the revolve. And I'm going to smoothen this edge out. So it's not so hard on your, it's not so bad looking. I'm going to smooth this one out. I want your finger to catch this edge. But I'm going to mess with this a little bit. I'm going to do this. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. I meant to do this. And I can make that as big or as small as I'd like. I don't know. I'm just going to pick a spot. And there it trims it. And it made it nice. Okay? Now I select that. There it is. Let's go to 3D again. It looks smooth. Okay? The other thing I'm going to do is go to reference level. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to copy it from this reference plane to this reference plane. And there it is. So if I go to here, I want to make sure everything works. I'm going to flex it again. I'm going to flex the width. I'm going to go and pick a different width, right? 48, apply, works nice. 30, apply. It's a thing of beauty. Okay? I'm going to save that. It exists, but I did something new, so I'll say yes. And load into project and close, overwrite the existing. Boom, there they are. Isn't that nice? All that crap in 3D I don't need. And there it is in plan. Those pools are there. Now, I did all that to show you just the basics of some things that you can do. The doors on this are pretty plain. You can create panels in them, on them, in them, on them. I've done that in the past. Do that by doing the same thing, by putting a void in there, having the void cut the door. You can make door families in this. You can make a door family and bring it into the cabinet family. You could do all kinds of things with families. Start basic and just keep adding things on. Keep learning more things. Okay? Hope this helped you. If you got any questions or concerns, please contact us at Printastat Incorporated, printastat.com. Have a great day.